What's up, everybody? Welcome to Content is Profit. Ponzu. We're back
What's up? We're back.
in Florida. Welcome back, man. How's it going?
Oh, I never left Florida. That's the thing.
That's right. That's right. North Florida, I guess. But yeah, man, welcome back. Welcome back. I'm glad everything came out good. I have a topic for you. Have you noticed? Well, I guess a topic question, but I've noticed something a little troubling with the conversations that we've had in the last, like, maybe couple of weeks since, people from the challenge, maybe a little bit of a higher traffic here in the studio too. Maybe it's the season, but do you think people really understand their reasons to get into content creation?
I mean, I think some people know why they want to create content, but I think they're lost. But elaborate on your question. But before you elaborate, if you felt confused by that question and you're like, I need some content clarity, well, lucky for you, we're running a one-on-one free challenge to help you find just that. So make sure you go to bizbros.co/monetize, sign up, and we'll see you on the challenge. All right, keep going.
I love it. Yeah, man, I don't know. I've had either many introductions here in the studio lately, and our process, we invite him here to see if it's a fit. I think when a couple of years ago, we're a little bit more gung ho and be like, yes, we'll help you. Right now, we've been a little bit more jealous and like who comes on. But a lot of the questions that I've been asking is helping me realize that there's an education gap when it comes to content. Like, I think the belief is there for a lot of people that, hey, like, yes, we do need to create, but then there's a little disconnect on attaching it to maybe for the business goal, right? Like, especially with the people coming in Business Creator Club, which is also part of maybe why we created that. And we're like igniting more conversations inside of the platform to kind of figure out, okay, if this is like a business related type of content that we're creating, how can we connect it with the business, right? I just had a call this morning with somebody that has been a CEO for 3 like national companies in the nonprofit sector. He's an author of a book, and he came on, asking questions about if he should start a podcast. And like, as a studio owner and people that have been in creating content for a long time, my answer is like, yeah, we should be creating content in general. But I don't know if a podcast, like, is podcast the right option for you? And when we asked about the goals of the content that he wants to start creating, he was kind of lost. I like his face kind of went to a place where I don't think he ever thought about that. And it was like really curious to me because that has happened a few times now. We're like, okay, well, what's the objective of creating this? And they're a little lost. I mean, what do you think?
I think the message out there a lot of the times is you need to create content. You need to create content, right? But not everybody's like, okay, they don't really tell you why necessarily, right? I mean, in a sense, I guess people could be like, you need to create content to get clients, right? But then it's like, okay, well, that is the end goal, but there's a lot in between that happens, right? So, I mean, maybe for him, actually, his goal might not be to get clients, but he might be hearing the message like, oh, you're somebody of status, somebody that have a lot of influence, you've had a big career, like you should be making content, right? It's like, he's like, oh, okay, well, like a lot of people have been telling me this, but then maybe I should be making content. But yeah, at the end of the day, it's like, well, what is the goal? Because sometimes actually content might not even be the thing that you need to do. Again, there's content it's a vehicle for the most part. Is if you want to build brand, if you want to increase sales, build exposure, like it is a vehicle, but there's other vehicles that can do that as well.
Yeah. I think it's important for people, if you're listening to this and maybe you're in that spot that, might be might be a little confusing of like, okay, I know content might be the vehicle, but I might be confused on the way to creation or like what steps to take first. First, go to bizres.co/monetize and jump on the one-on-one challenge because I think that's what I mean, you just sent me a text, somebody that came in the club, they have like this incredible retreat business. And I'm like, oh my gosh, I want to go do that. Right. And, but the fact is she needs to do some type of outreach initially, right? Like they need to like pick up the phone or like, bring people into their platform. And it's like, how can we connect that? I think like there's a view out there. It's like, okay, we put this content out there. Whoever sees it is gonna call us, right? He's gonna reach out to us. But I think for smaller to medium sized businesses, there still have to be some kind of like output for outgoing marketing and outreach to let people know that there is a product out there, that there is, some things of value that they can provide. And then as they build the systems on the back end for the content to work for them.
Yeah, no, 100%. Yeah, I think, again, it's a broad topic with lots of to-dos and, with lots of you shoulds as well. And then
Yeah.
people just get confused when also, I mean, in reality, it'll be better for them to just pick any strategy and then just take action on that one for some period of time and see what sort of results they get.
Yeah.
But again, the message is so broad and so loud that there's so many different ways you can do things that then it's just straight up overwhelm. People don't do anything.
Yeah. Here's like the specific like questions that I got in our conversation this morning that really kind of ignited this idea of like having this conversation today is because the person, like before we even go into the goals, like, hey, I just want to learn more about podcasting. And he was debating into like doing it himself. And a lot of people that were trying to tackle something on their own, I think it's very natural to go and try to figure out themselves. Like, okay, how do I launch this podcast, for example, which is totally okay. But there's some people that are going to enjoy that process. There's going to be people that maybe want some speed or professionalism. Is that correct? But this person was like, okay, what is the optimal podcast length? Somebody told me it was 7 minutes. And I'm like, well, why is that? Right. Like, and I think the answer is like, it depends. Like we've seen very successful shows that last 3 hours. We've seen very successful shows that are 5 minute long. Is it high frequency? Is it low frequency? What type of topic is it? Right.
I think we can go to that Alex Hormozi framework that we like now, which is logic, evidence, and utility. Right? It's like, okay, well, define success. What is success for you? Right? And then that's the other thing. Some people give like a big audience, sponsorships. Some people might say clients, right? So based on those things, then it just becomes different ways to achieve that, right? Because the way you build, maybe a podcast like Content is Profit, right? We've talked about this pipeline platform that you use a proximity conversation with your guests to build pipeline and turn them into customers is different than how you would approach a podcast like Joe Rogan, for example.
Yeah.
Right? So again, first of all, it's like, what does success mean? And then you go then to the evidence part. It's like, okay, well, like what, how do you see this? Like, what do you see it? And you'll see evidence of everything, right? You'll see, because that's the other thing. Is like, there's not one size fits all when it comes to content. There are people that have 7 minute podcasts that are very successful. And there's people that have, again, like 2-3 hour podcasts that are, per episode that are very, very successful. So at the end of the day, I think it becomes more of a, what can you commit to long term based on your resources and your capacity, and then take action and see what sort of results you get with that.
Yeah.
And then go back at it again.
Yeah, I think a good idea for people that, might be feeling a little lost is, again, go to baseball.co/monetize, gain some clarity with Fonzie. But also, like, look around. Maybe, I ask this question all the time when people come to the studio. It's like, okay, what podcast do you consume? Like, which one do you like to watch or listen, right? And it's incredible how many people don't listen to podcasts, or they don't have like a clear answer, right? And I'm like, well, this tells me a couple of things. Whether like we're following some external advice, telling them like maybe this is the pill, right? To like, achieve their desired outcome. Uh, but I'm a big fan of create what you enjoy as well, right? Like that's why on my side, like I just tinker with things and I try to create different formats. I mean, last night I was live streaming video games, right? And I have a ton of ideas based off of that. I personally like doing that, but also it's like, okay, in your field, if you're an author, if you're a speaker, who's somebody that you admire, or maybe that's having success in the platform, and what are they doing? Like, what type of content are they doing? Is that something that you would enjoy creating, right? Because we went over a couple case studies with the gentleman this morning, where one was is when we collaborated with Amanda Holmes and the Ultimate Sales Machine when they were launching their book. We're like, look, she had a book. We broke the book in several episodes, about 90 episodes, and each episode was 5 minutes long, 5 to 7 minutes long. And for them, that was like high frequency because they needed to like reach out to the list because they had an email list and they were like letting people know about it and just delivering value in these like nugget size episodes. But then they went to like full hour episodes every single week because for them, that was easier to create, right? And they enjoyed that process a little bit more and they were connecting with CEOs to do that. So there's 1,000 formats out there, but I think we sometimes get super overwhelmed to get started. And I understand if you're a bigger company, there's some resources that are going to go to there. There's some planning and stuff that you got to do it. But I think the element of like, what are we actually going to enjoy doing? Because that's going to be sustainable over a long period of time. And then you can start adapting based off of that.
Yeah, I even would argue that more importantly than what you create and how you create it is how you're going to get people to listen. All right. And then after that, you'll know based on your data
Yeah.
whether if what you're creating is good or not. But a lot of people, yeah, they spend too much time thinking on, okay, what is it that I'm going to create? And of course, like that's the product in the terms. Of course, you want to create something nice, something meaningful, something impactful. But at the same time, if nobody listens to it, who cares? Right. So spend a lot of time
Yeah.
also thinking on how am I going to get people to listen to this, right? If you have no assets whatsoever, you will have to do some sort of promotion, right? You might have to run advertisement to it. You might have to do some organic marketing and start, cold sharing your episode with people.
Yeah.
Or if you do have an asset, if you have an email list, then you can share with them. If you have an audience somewhere, you can share with them, right? But again, that might be even the most important part.
Yeah, absolutely. And again, talking specifically with long form and we're obviously in the business creator world, and some people might have lead magnets, some people might have books or guides or programs. Like how this is some of the brainstorming that we did this morning, and we're having another conversation on Friday to see if this is actually a good fit for them. But for the book, the feedback that they've been getting was, "Hey, we really enjoy this, but I want to listen to it." So they recorded an audiobook. I also want to like have some kind of like follow up when it comes to like action taking. And the book is about helping CEOs in the nonprofit space specifically, right? And I'm like, perfect. That could be a case study of a companion podcast. You know how it shows? Like I was watching the Peacemaker the other day. The advertising before the show is there's a companion podcast on the show. So you watch the show and then you would listen to the podcast as a commentary to that, right? The objective of that show is supporting the fans for something that they like, right? Probably is not monetizing and selling merch. Maybe they're advertising. I didn't listen to it, but the impression to it that I have is they're supporting the main production that there is. So perfect. If you read the
Yeah.
book,
The goal might be higher retention for the show, right? Just have people stay
yeah,
watching the
hook 'em
show
and
throughout the whole season.
exactly. So it's like, is your platform, your content, whatever that is, podcast, YouTube, social media, is that a sales enablement tool where you're answering questions, where you're like, Alex Ramosi, good example. Like he released the books and then he released them for free on his podcast for people that might not be able to afford them, right? Because his mission, his goal is to help every single soul out there to like build a good business, right? So for him, that's a marketing vehicle that they have and do that, for example, right? Is it a paid show, for example, Escuela de Nada, right? Like this show that we listen from these Venezuelan comedians, right? They have a free version, they have a paid podcast that is on a different platform. And then for them, that's their business model, right? But it came from feedback. It came from, again, putting the show in front of people. I think that what you said there is super important, that a lot of people don't even think about the distribution side until after the thing is created, right? They spend so much energy in trying to figure out what to say, how to create it, how to produce it, right? And then we're like, okay, we're putting it out there. Where's this gonna go? Like who's gonna watch this, right? I think lining up the marketing vehicles, at least version one of them ahead of time, is so important. So thank you for bringing that up, dude.
Of course, you can drop the wisdom any day you want. I think a good action point for somebody that's listening and they might be thinking, I want to take the next step. Either, I've heard that I have to create content. I would think about, first of all, okay, why do you need to do it, right? What is
Yeah,
your exact goal that you want to accomplish with this? Gain clarity there. Then think about what are your constraints, time, money, right? The capacity to create.
yeah.
And then depending on the vehicle that you decide, whether it's a podcast, short form content, then just make that commitment and start doing it. But just start getting some clarity about like, why do you want to do this? And if it's a podcast, then think about how you're going to drive traffic, right? And just pick one. You don't have to do it all, right? You can just pick one thing and say, well, I'm going to write a post about it after every single
Mhm.
episode that I make. And I'm going to publish it that way and try to drive traffic and then test it, see what happens.
Yeah, absolutely. Test the capacity, test your resources. One line that I've heard early, like lately, that I really enjoy is like, uh, was it? You might be overworking the capacity of your editors. Like, as in, like, if you want to create more volume, for example, Alex has been talking about, volume. And again, everybody, he I've heard the example of like this Bollywood brand that they post like 100 times a day, right? And it's like, well, you might not be doing it because your capacity is limited, right? On that, right? It's like, okay, production levels versus how do we do this frequently and consistently? And start, measuring that and see if it's something that aligns with what you say, with what you do, and continue to do it. Like recently I started doing like those clipping softwares for the gaming thing. I was like, okay, let me test what happens if we post like on my personal YouTube channel, if I post like every 4 hours. I think it was like the cadence, and the first couple did really good, and then after a while it's like zero, right? And you're like, oh, indicator, you probably need to build up to that level. So like the actual software helps you out. Is it actually valuable for the people that are watching? Maybe not, because super high frequency on this type of content might not be helpful. And to be clear, like clarifying, this is gaming content, this is not business content. So, but it's like, it's really interesting to me that it's like, okay, what happens if we push this? Oh, sweet. Okay, well, let's reduce value and see what happens. Or volume, sorry. No value, volume. Also, I might just be sucking at that type of content. I don't know. That could also be it.
It could be, might not be entertaining enough. Who knows?
That could be. I mean, that's definitely it. All right, I know that you have a commitment and you have to head out. Is there anything else you want to add, Fonzie?
No, just make sure you join us on the one-on-one content clarity challenge at bizros.co/monetize. Again, if you feel like you have to do content, or you've been wanting to do content, or you've been actually been doing it for a while and you have not seen results, or you feel stuck, XYZ, this is a challenge for you. We're going to guide you we're going to craft a strategy just for you based on your constraints and your resources. Is one-on-one for 5 days in a row. We spend about 20 to 30 minutes together every single day working on this, and you'll get some tangible results out of it. So go to bizros.co/monetize. We'd love to help you out, and I'll see you in the challenge.
That's good. Thank you, guys, and we'll see you on the next episode. Take care.